Hello, my name is Ron Marsh, and I bring to you School, the Story of American Public Education. School, the Story of American Public Education, a narrative by Sheila Curran Bernard and Sarah Mondale, 2001. I chose this book because I wanted to know the foundation, why and how the American public education got its start, how the institution of education shaped society, and how the public school became an instrument of democracy by political experts, and because history always brings forth truth about establishments and the culture of which it's made up of. History never lies and always tells the truth. The structure of the book is on point. It gives a precise definition of its historical content. Its outline, forward, and introduction captures the interested reader, and it takes the reader through the times and era of ways and means of which the public school system was created. The authors and the team of this narrative put together testimonies, research, personal stories, and photos, as well as political legislature about how the history of public or the common school was established in our country. This narrative was also published on national PBS TV. The authors and the work they put together helps us to see from a vivid eye the political concepts of how people became the target for the American vote, and democracy behind the American way of life. The three main focus points in this book are: number one, the history of public schools in America and how they were established. Number two, public education, the hope for a brighter future and citizenship. And three, the future of public education in America. My first point and focus was the history of public education in the 1820s through 1840s. The public school, as we know it, was born in the mid-19th century. Its founders called it the Common School, funded by property taxes, and were open to all white children. The Common School movement moved education more fully into the public sphere and made it amenable to public policy. This narrative is about the history of American forefathers and their determination to, through politics and its system, seek a way to build a nation and create a strong citizenship and to establish a democracy. The establishment of this institution showed us that the American dream was not to gain wealth or status or political position, but to acquire a meaningful, equal, and quality education. The second point of focus was public education, the hope for a brighter future and citizenship. Based on shared beliefs, America was able to build a public system over time to encourage citizens that public education was a public good essential to health and the wealth of a nation. It was the common set of political and social values that the common school gave hope to the common people. Hope for a brighter future, jobs, new homes, transportation, health care, and all the provisions for the American family to live a happy American life. Horace Mann, the great 19th century school reformer, and other local leaders came together to publish purpose and to develop a more education policy. The future of public education in America, my third focus point. Take schools out of politics. In the 1960s, the Reformation brought about change in the course of history to redefine democracy and challenge the structure of education, shaping who and what public education should be in American society today. Diversity in the public school system in the last 50 to 100 years. The history of school governance was a large part of today's efforts to reform schools in the 20th century. Groups such as African Americans, Latinos, the handicapped, and women have organized social movements and have sought to access influence to influence public education. The law of desegregation and the movement of integration helped shape American public education. Lastly, my favorite part of the book was to see how people became aware of the opportunity to educate their children and to instill in them that it is and always will be important to obtain a public American education. To my surprise, though, public education was built of politicians and their view of democracy. I would recommend this book, School, The Story of American Public Education, to all educators, staff, or professors that are seeking to exercise their gift of teaching to American communities. However, to know our history is to know our future. The values it created will help shape the way I look at the value of public education, and it will help me to provide a person with an equal, adequate, and quality education in America.